Introduction. The term cyberwarfare is getting more and more attention day by day. Cyberattacks are becoming widespread. Both governments and non-state actors are well aware of the importance of successful cyber-espionage, cyber-sabotage, and cyber-terrorism in today's world. Although the Cold War between NATO and Russia officially ended with the collapse of the Soviet Union back in 1991, these two global powers are still rivals. Nowadays, NATO and Russia are engaged in a different type of conflict. The cyber Cold War between NATO and Russia has become a significant concern for many policymakers. In this paper, I will analyze the origins, strategies, and current status of the cyber Cold War between NATO and Russia. Origins of the cyber Cold War, NATO versus Russia. The first significant cyber attack against Russia was the infamous Stuxnet virus. Stuxnet was a virus designed by the United States and Israel that targeted Iran's nuclear program. Nevertheless, its code was leaked and used against Russia too. Experts argue that Stuxnet is the origin of the cyber Cold War between NATO and Russia. The dust seemed to have settled after the Stuxnet incident, but the new tension between NATO and Russia began with the events in Ukraine. Ukraine had close ties with Russia until the Ukrainian president in the time of Yanukovych was overthrown with the help of NATO and EU. Russia began to support Ukrainian separatists to counter NATO's influence. In 2014, Russian hackers managed to take down the Ukrainian electric grid, successfully creating a blackout that lasted for several hours. Moreover, NATO's meeting in Warsaw led to a new series of cyberattacks conducted by Russian hackers against NATO servers in 2016. The cyberattacks against the Democratic National Committee before the 2016 US presidential elections also created a significant international uproar and increased tensions. Strategies: Cyber Cold War between NATO and Russia. NATO has been quite vocal about its concerns regarding Russian cyberattacks. The alliance has made several attempts to establish a dialogue with Russia, starting from the NATO-Russia Council to the Tallinn Manual 2.0, which is a framework for international law in cyber operations. However, none of these dialogues were fruitful. NATO's strategy in response to Russia's cyberattacks is varied. Its primary strategy is to focus on cyber defense. NATO leadership is aware of the importance of a robust and effective cyber defense network. They aim to reinforce their cyber defense posture and capabilities by investing in new technologies and creating teams of experts. NATO cyber defense exercises, such as the Cyber Coalition exercise, are organized to test NATO's ability to defend against cyberattacks. On the other hand, Russia's strategy in the cyber Cold War is not as clear as NATO's. Russian hackers are not only targeting NATO countries but also countries that have stronger ties with NATO like Ukraine, Estonia, and Georgia. By targeting these countries, Russia aims to create instability, confusion, and fear. These factors can be a valuable tool to disrupt political processes and decision-making mechanisms in these countries. Russia's involvement in the American presidential elections in 2016 also demonstrates their active involvement in other countries' domestic politics. Current status: the cyber Cold War between NATO and Russia is still ongoing. Cybersecurity firms are warning the world that the threat of cyberattacks is on the rise. In October 2020, a malware attack was discovered to have affected several official websites of the US government and some private companies. Experts believe that the attack was conducted by Russian hackers. Russia denies any involvement. The most recent cyber attack that occurred in 2021 was the SolarWinds attack. Attackers hacked the SolarWinds Orion software to distribute a backdoor program that allowed them to access computer systems. The hackers were able to gain access to top US government agencies and companies, creating a significant blow to the country's cybersecurity posture. The US government believes that the SolarWinds attack was conducted by the Russian intelligence agency, SVR. Conclusion. In conclusion, the cyber Cold War between NATO and Russia is a grave concern for policymakers worldwide. As the world becomes more dependent on technology, we become more vulnerable to cyber attacks. The cyber Cold War between NATO and Russia has been ongoing for a while, and the most recent events demonstrate that the threat is still very much alive. Establishing transparent and open channels of communication between governments is essential to prevent digital conflict escalation. Furthermore, civilian society must actively contribute to creating a safer and more secure digital environment. We must learn from the past and develop new and innovative solutions to counter the evolving cyber threat.